Rahmani Mahama, praying that Allah grants him good life, long life, and good health. Again, all forces that are on the ground and yet to come to enable us continue this fight successfully. Those that are there, may Allah put blessings onto them. Those that we do not have, may Allah bring them to us. We also pray that sincerity is what we put ahead of us and follow. For He, Allah, indicates in the Holy Quran that when you are sincere and Allah identifies sincerity in you, that is enough for Allah to make you succeed, even if your inputs are not enough. We pray that we all are sincere. We have seen the indications of that for oneness of purpose that we all have had. We also pray that we have a body that presides over elections in this country, and we have security forces that are to ensure that everything goes smoothly without any head-up. Whatever thing that needs to be done with regards to these particular, to ensure fair and successful election, may Allah make us realize and see it. Whatever thing that will come to make it go a way that nobody is anticipating or expecting, for that matter, foul, may Allah save us from that. We are also praying that Allah the Almighty, the needed resources to travel across the length and breadth of the country to ensure that whoever we need to reach out to ensure the fellow comes out to cast his or her ballot fairly, freely, may Allah enable us have those particular resources. Those resources that we do not have, may Allah enable us have them and help us have a very successful effort and fight to ensure that we really come to the end of the journey, and at the end of the tunnel we have success being ours. May Allah also make us come December 7, 2024. May Allah make us get there and have our able leader who has exhibited, he practiced it, he experienced it, he did it, he executed it, and now he is resting. May Allah bring him back to continue with the experience and fix whatever broken economy that we are facing today. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير تولج الليل في النهار وتولج النهار في الليل وتخرج الحي من الميت وتخرج الميت من الحي وترزق من تشاء بغير حساب اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
All right, thank you very much, Sheikh Samuel, for that wonderful prayer. Eyezu, Eyezu, Eyeza, Eyezuza. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to introduce a man who served as a member of parliament for the Krowo constituency and the Greater Accra region from 1997 to 2001. He was a Minister of State for the Greater Accra and the Northern regions respectively from 1997 as well to 2001. He was Ghana's most influential public sector leader in 2012. He did some amazing work when he was the Vice Chancellor at UPSA. In the year 2020, he was in the race to become the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress. He contested against His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Today, he is the convener of the John Mahama campaign. With a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the podium Professor Joshua Alabi, who is the convener of the John Mahama campaign, to speak on behalf of the campaign team. Choboy! Choboy! Choboy!
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Your Excellency, our incoming First Lady, the General Secretary, the Chairman and the General Secretary of our party, Professor Nana, our former Chairman, Honorable Ofoso Apofo, our Minority Leader in Parliament, and the immediate past Minority Leader, Honorable Idisu, members of the National Executive Committee of the party, members of Parliament, the chiefs and people of Tamale, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished guests, esteemed members of the party, and devoted supporters. It is an honor and privilege to stand here before you today as the campaign convener, as we gather here to celebrate the acceptance of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, our flag bearer, our incoming president, for the upcoming elections. This momentous occasion marks a significant milestone in our democratic journey as we come together to rally behind a leader who embodies the values, principles, and aspirations of our great party. Today, we stand united in our unwavering belief in John Mahama's ability to lead us to a brighter and more prosperous future. These years of dedicated service to our nation has consistently demonstrated his commitment to the welfare of the Ghanaian people. His leadership has been characterized by compassion, integrity, a deep sense of understanding of the challenges faced by our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency's job for Ghana is one that encompasses equity, social justice, and economic empowerment for all. He recognizes the urgent need to address the issues that affect our daily lives of our citizens, from quality education and accessible healthcare to job creation. Under his leadership, we will work tirelessly to bridge the gap that divides us and build a Ghana where every citizen has equal opportunity to thrive. And that's what we mean by the Ghana we want. We gather here not only to celebrate His Excellency John Mahama's acceptance, but also to acknowledge the collective strength and unwavering commitment of our party members and supporters. It is your dedication, hard work, and tireless effort that has brought us to this moment. Your unwavering belief in the ideals of our party, your resilience in the face of challenges, and your determination to see a better Ghana have been truly inspiring. As we move forward towards the upcoming election, let us remember that our success lies in our unity. We must stand shoulder to shoulder, working collaboratively to promote our shared values and principles. Together, we will engage with the Ghanaian people, listen to their concerns, and offer tangible solutions. Together, we will forge a path of progress and development that will resonate with every citizen in this country. I urge each and every one of you to continue to work hard, bring our Vision 2024 to a resounding victory. Let us have this and enthusiasm generated by John Mahama's acceptance to mobilize our communities, to engage in meaningful conversations, and to inspire change level. The journey ahead will not be easy, but with Excellency John Mahama at the helm of us, guided by our unwavering support, we can overcome any obstacle that come our way. To express my deepest appreciation to His Excellency John Mahama for accepting the call to lead our party once again. In fact, he has no choice. Where Nana and Bami have taken us to, like I said somewhere, they've taken us to relegation. In the Premier League, you don't do well, you go to relegation. And we need a very strong hand to bring us back to the Premier League. And luckily, we have His Excellency John Mahama, who has the experience and what it takes to do that. He is doing this not for himself. He is doing this not for we assembled here, but he is doing this for our children and our great-grandchildren. I also extend my gratitude to each and every one of you gathered here today, as well as those who have worked tirelessly behind the scene. To the regional, that's the regional committee, constituency coordinating committees, our ward committees, and the branch committees, I say Ayeko for a very good job done. Thanks very much to the project team. And for once, we need to know some of the members of the project team. We have, if you are here, we have Senior Comrade Kwame Pripra. He's here. We have Senior Comrade Professor Kwamina Ahoy. He's here. We have Senior Comrade Kofi Totobi Kwachi. He's here. We have Comrade, I'm not coming to the comrades. We have Comrade Julius Deborah. He's here. Where is he? We have Comrade Madame Varesoya. She's here. We have Comrade Callistus Mahama. I called him the Field General. He's here. We have Comrade Omadi Buama. We have Comrade Joyce Bauer. We have, in fact, this particular comrade, I would like us to give him a very nice sound of welcome. He's been able to position the party. He's been able to make our message across. He's been able to push our message to the whole world. And he's no other person, very strong young man, Comrade Stan Dogbe. Let's clap for him. There was a clear sense of purpose from the team. And we understood each other. And with cooperation, we were able to achieve our target, His Excellency. We gave ourselves above the previous figure of 95%, closing to 99.99%. Excellency, we made 98.9%. It is your dedication that keeps the flame of the party burning bright. Let us embark on this journey with renewed determination, unity, and unwavering belief in the principle that guides us all. Together, we will write a new chapter in Ghana's history, one that is defined by progress, prosperity, and inclusivity for all. Ladies and gentlemen, as this chanter, I would like to do an emotional thing. Our task as a project team is to get the party a flag bearer. Not just a flag bearer, but an experienced flag bearer. One who can lead us to victory. Our other task is also to get the country a president who will move us from relegation to premier. Ladies and gentlemen, before you, after His Excellency's acceptance speech, we, the project team, are handing over to the party a solid man who is capable of achieving all that for us. I know under the leadership of General Mosquito and the General Secretary, the party will take very good care of him because we did. On this note, thank you, and may the spirit of our party guide us towards a victorious future. Thank you very much. I salute you all.
Of the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, the national chairman, Johnson Asedun Ketia. We also have in our midst here, ladies and gentlemen, the former chairman of the party as well, Mr. Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo is here with us. The General Secretary of the NDC, Mr. Fifi Kwete, is here with us as well. The National Vice Chairperson, Chief Sofo Azoka, is here with us in the house, ladies and gentlemen. We also have the running mate to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in the 2020 general election, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is here with us as well. Dr. Valerie Sawyer, former senior policy advisor to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is here as well with us. Ladies and gents, the member of the NDC Council of Elders, Council of States, Alhaji Hudu Yaya, is here with us in the house. We also have the Northern Regional Chairman of the NDC, Mr. Adolf Ali, here with us in the house. And of course, I would like to acknowledge all our regional chairmen, regional executives, and as well former executives who have traveled to join us here in Tamale this afternoon. We also have the host member of parliament who gave His Excellency 100% in his constituency. Ladies and gents, the member of parliament for Tamale South constituency, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of all members of parliament here in present. I can see a large number of you. Unfortunately, I cannot mention all your names, but we see you and we acknowledge all of you. Ladies and gents, we also have the minority leader in the house, Honorable Ato Forsen, is here with us. And of course, all elected parliamentary candidates, we do acknowledge your presence. Mr. Julius Debra, the former Chief of Staff, is also here with us in the house this afternoon. Please give us a wave wherever you are. Thank you very much. Ladies and gents, at this juncture, I shall now invite the man whose love for the NDC can be traced back to his days at the University of Ghana, where he was very active in party politics. He rose to become the party's propaganda secretary, which we now call the National Communications Officer. He is a former member of parliament, a former deputy minister of state who also rose to become a minister of state, and he now occupies the enviable position of general secretary of the National Democratic Congress. He's none other than Mr. Fifi Kwete. A round of applause for the general secretary of the party.
Eza, thank you very much. And I want to stand on all existing protocols to acknowledge every single one of you who here, members of the great family of the NDC. I want on behalf of every structure of the party, starting from the branch level through the constituency, all the way to the national level, to thank every single one of you who have done everything possible to make sure that the recent presidential and parliamentary primaries came to a very successful ending. We are extremely very grateful because it's been a very tough challenge and a battle, and I'm sure we have signaled to the country that this dress rehearsal is just the beginning of even the greater battle ahead of us come December 7, 2024, and we are showing we are ready for that bigger battle. I want to use the occasion to say that the choice of this great city clearly cannot be a choice by accident at all. Tamale, the heart of the original northern region, as far as I'm concerned, is known as a place for courage, a place for brave men, and a place for truth. So it clearly cannot be an accident that we are choosing this great city to be the place where we are going to welcome the leader of our party into the battle 2024. I said courage, bravery, truth are going to be very important principles if we are going to win this battle that is ahead of us. I want to also say that the choice of the dates itself is significant. 44 years ago today, a seed was sown, which was the beginning of the seed that brought about the transformation, let's call it the reconstruction of Ghana. When this nation hit the lowest level, after the great job done by Kwame Nkrumah, we started the decline, and that decline continued into the mid-70s. Exactly 44 years ago today, on the 15th of May, something began that saw the beginning of the transformation again. And it's not an accident. It's not an accident at all that again today, at a time where the very soul of this nation has been totally destroyed, the psyche, the fabric of Ghana has been totally brought down. We are at the lowest level on our knees, economically, politically, culturally, and at all levels. We are chosen again, 15th of May, to start a flame that I believe is going to bring again the rebuilding of this country. And this time, to rebuild it for good. What I want to say is that we expect that the courage that was brought about on that day of May 15th will be the courage that we will take into the battle 2024. The selflessness that was brought about on that day of May 15 will be the selflessness that will guide our battle into 2024. Every single one of us, whether you are going to be a polling agent, whether you are going to be a branch executive or executive at the constituency level, at the regional level, at the national level, or every aspect of our party, we expect that courage, selflessness, love for party, love for nation should be the pillars on which we stand. And once we can stand on these principles, there is no way the battle ahead of us, which is a battle for the very soul of our country, cannot be won. Ezu, what is ahead of us is a battle not just to rescue this country, but to be able to really restart the reconstruction of our country. And that reconstruction must start with a reconstruction of our very beliefs, our attitudes, the things we stand for. President Mahama is known as a man who built the country. Of course, the building of this country started with the founder of our party, continued, especially through Jerry Rawlings, continued with Prof. Mills, and President Mahama during his time proved to stand on the shoulders of these great leaders to actually demonstrate the capacity for building the country. I believe a lot of that building will continue from January 7, 2024, when by God's grace, by Allah's grace, we get back power. But what I want to urge is that the building that we are looking for, the infrastructure that we were looking for from 2025, must begin with the infrastructure that every single one of us who are in this party must start having inside of us. We must start becoming infrastructure of truth, infrastructure of selflessness, infrastructure of people who love this party, who put ourselves second and put the party first. Infrastructure of people who want to do what is right to the betterment of our nation. And if we all can become this great infrastructure, then the job of reconstructing Ghana come January 7, 2025 will become an easier job. So my prayer is that fire that was lit in this country on May 15, 1979, that fire will guide us again. That fire will be the beginning of the transformation of this country again. Just as this country was at lowest ebb, and that fire 44 years ago led to that reconstruction, I pray that the fire will again guide us. Will guide President Mahama, will give him the selflessness, the love for party, the love for nation, the courage of conviction, the truthfulness, the love, the dedication for this nation, so that we'll be able to do what the millions of our people expect of us. Great family of the NDC, we thank you. We thank you for every single thing that you have done to help us through the difficulties that we went through. And a lot of difficulties were faced. But through our perseverance, our dedication, and especially our commitment to making sure we do not disappoint the millions of our Ghanaians, we were able to win every step of those battles. But that is simply the beginning. The real job begins from today. As we now have a new leader who is going to be leading us into that battle, that journey begins again. I want to say thank you very much, every single one of you. And remember, cadence may go, cadence may come, but the revolution has come to stay. Revolution Revolution has a long way to go. Let us come to stay. May that fire of May 15th light all of us up and make us to love this country, love this party, and do everything we can for the reconstruction of our country. Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause once again for the General Secretary of the NDC, Mr. Fifi Kwete. Before I proceed, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of some of our chiefs who have joined us this afternoon. Jimana Chang to one to Boleton and Shabankanati Tapson to Zungo, Dapsulongo Yua, Katinyaba, Kabangba, Bananye, in Yabe Kasulilana Yakubu, Zungo Obepe, Chelakat Pahanutu. He also doubles as the chairman of the Council of Elders. Here, a round of applause for Yeb Kasulilana Yakubu. We also have in our midst this afternoon Vitin Pana Lana. He's a representative of the chief of Vitin. Round of applause for him as well, ladies and gents. We also have Bimbali Wura, HB Bremer. He's also here in our midst this afternoon, ladies and gents. Round of applause for Chief. He's also the former member of parliament for the Salaga constituency. We have Inyeb Tolong Lana, Major Retired Suleiman. A round of applause for him as well. You can tell by the applause that he's a man loved by many. We also have Alhaji Mahama Al Hassan, who is the Kotokoli chief. Round of applause for Alhaji Mahama Al Hassan as well. Inyab Palalana is also in our midst. Nyang Palalana is in our midst. Inyab Nyang Palalana, the chief of Nyang Pala, is here with us. Inyabu Warbu Alana is also here with us, ladies and gents. A round of applause for him. We also have Inyab Kurna in our midst this afternoon. Round of applause. And then we have the chief of the Yoruba community, Alhaj Imran, also here with us this afternoon. Ladies and gents, the chief of Choguna is also here. Choguna is here with us this afternoon. Round of applause for him. And of course, the chief of Tamale, Inyab Dakema, is here with us this afternoon. Round of applause for him as well. At the beginning of... Pardon? Okay, we also have Chief Al-Hassan in our midst this afternoon. Chief Al-Hassan is in our midst this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for him as well. At the beginning of the event, I should have introduced myself. My name is Eura Adams Karim, and so I'm taking the opportunity to do that now. Ladies and gents, the man I'm about to introduce, as a matter of fact, needs no introduction. He's worked at all levels in the political landscape of this country. He's been an assembly member. He's been a member of parliament. He's been a minister of state. And he's been the longest ever serving general secretary of the NDC. A round of applause, ladies and gents. I'm not done, but you already know who he is, I guess. At the time when people were needed to reorganize the party and to save this country, this man was present. In fact, his name is synonymous to the NDC. He's the only general in Ghana politics, and his name resounds in every nook and cranny of this country. He's the mosquito whose bite causes pandemonium in the camp of his opponents. With a round of applause, ladies and gents, help me welcome the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Honorable Johnson Asiedu Nketia, with a huge round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, with your permission, I would like to stand on the protocols earlier established by the previous speakers so we can save time. Today, I don't intend to deliver a long speech, because this is an event to listen to the newly elected flag bearer. Indeed, it should have happened on the election night in Accra. But because he had to come to the north to cast the vote, it could not happen. So we have come to continue the program to its conclusion. I don't also intend to take the press attention from the wonderful speech we are about to expect from the new flag bearer. I just want to add something very little to the presentation by my General Secretary. He did a good job in reconnecting today with the past, 44 years ago. There's a little bit of it that was omitted. And that is to say that 44 years ago started the political journey of a man who was destined to be 3 times the President of the Republic of Ghana. And that was President Jerry John Rawlings. I have heard it being said throughout this campaign that somehow there is no history of any president who has sworn with our state source 3 times. Maybe they haven't learned the history properly. Because President Rawlings swore to the nation 3 times. First, as the chairman of AFRC. Second, as the chairman of PNDC. And the third, as the elected president of the Republic of Ghana. We never chose this day consciously, May 15. It just happened that today we are repeating history in another form. President Mahama is going to be the second president to swear to this nation for the 3rd time before he leaves. He has already sworn twice. He swore as a president after the unfortunate demise of President Atta Mills. The second time when he was elected as President of the Republic. And January 7th, 2025, he is going to conclude the history making of this country, because he is going to swear with the state sword for the 3rd time as the President of the Republic of Ghana. This tells you that the man comes with divine guidance. Rawlings was chosen at a time when the nation was at a point we considered to be at the lowest ebb. We hadn't seen the work of Akufo-Addo yet. So at that time, we thought that that was the worst this country could come to. But today, those who can compare will realize that we were joking in those days. And that the real bad times of Ghana, the worst time of Ghana, is today. So if divine providence had chosen President Rawlings to rescue the country in those days, today President John Dramani Mahama is being chosen to do the work that had been left uncompleted by President Rawlings. Ladies and gentlemen, with these few remarks, I'd like to leave the day for our new king. Thank you very much, and may God bless our homeland.
Indeed, on the 7th of January 2025, we'll be taking those graceful steps into the Jubilee House with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as President of the Republic of Ghana. Inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I'd like to invite a man that I admire so much, and of course a man that so many youth across the length and breadth of this country admire so much for his charisma and how youthful and passionate he is when it comes to issues of this country. After being a student leader for several years in the university, he transitioned into mainstream politics, where he rose to become the national youth organizer. I'll come back to this man, but before that, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of some chiefs that we have in our midst. Of course, we have Tanda Ura Al-Hajj Muhammad Amin, he's in our midst. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gents. We also have, ladies and gentlemen, Sanaru Paulana. He's a representative of the Sanaru chief. He's in our midst, ladies and gents. We also have Dungu Wulana Al-Hassan, who is representing the Dunguna. We have Nyala Shena, who's a representative of the Nantona. And we have the Northern Regional Chief Imam as well in our midst, Al-Hajj Abdul Salam, and Lamashana Al-Hajj Ziblim, Lamashana Al-Hajj Ziblim is also in our midst today. Let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Well, as I was saying earlier, I said, after being a student leader for several years in his tertiary educational period, he transitioned into mainstream politics, where he rose to become the national youth organizer of the NDC. He became a member of parliament after winning the 2004 parliamentary election. He is a former minister of communication, a former minister for trade and industry, a former minister for employment and labor relations. And I repeat again that his constituency gave His Excellency John Dramani Mahama 100%. He is none other, ladies and gents, than the former minority leader of the NDC and member of parliament for Tamale South constituency, Honorable Haruna Idrisu.
Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Mrs. Lodina Mahama, I now can understand why this morning the First Lady to be requested that she wanted the husband to be ushered in with a traditional dance. Little did I know that Excellency had learned his steps as he responded to the beautiful melody of the Lunsuma. National Chairman of our party, General Secretary, Minority Leader, Campaign Coordinator, Nanuma, I'm standing on behalf of the people of Northern Region. Our proud Northern Regional Chairman, Adolf, supported by the local constituency chairman, Vito, Alhaji Abdul Rauf Zanya. And on behalf of all the constituencies here, including regional chairmen that have traveled far and near, to welcome you all warmly to Tamale. Tamale South constituency and the UDC is the proud host of this historic, auspicious, momentous occasion to cement the will of the NDC party faithfuls. Nanembechon Excellency Mama on the kana ompuhe kapai. Na only you samle, na only you samle. Unkam kana na only nang abarkanang. My task is a very simple one. To introduce to you the person that the NDC overwhelmingly and massively endorse. To say that it's overwhelming may be an understatement. I can only say a near unanimous 100% declaration for Excellency John Dramani Mahama. That is a manifestation that the leadership and the rank and file of our party across the nation have made a unique pronouncement of their support and solidarity to his bid to the presidency. He comes to the presidency with some unique characteristics. At least for John Dramani Mahama, he is not the sketch. He is a full portrait, not the sketch. He is a full portrait of a leader. And for him, public service is a calling. And he's only come back to lead the NDC to rescue our country, as was described by the national chairman, for the country being run to its lowest ebb. Nana Addo Dankwa and Dr. Bawumia have run this economy to the nadir of economic failure, manifesting in excruciating hardship, manifesting in the destruction of the private sector and businesses. The man to rescue it is a man I'm here to introduce, Excellency John Dramani Mahama. He also comes to this office with 5 important characteristics. Professor Joshua Alabi summarized a few of them. I will add just a few. He comes to this office with character, temperament, integrity, and compassion. At least he is not the president who will tell you that I'm not going to IMF and finally return to the IMF. He is not the president who will tell you that there will be no haircut, no thanks to the minority leader. He is not that president. At least he comes to that office with integrity and with character. Following the deception of the new Patriotic Party government on Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the people of the NDC have spoken, and have spoken loud and eloquently, that they need a rescuer. That rescuer is a person I'm here to introduce, John Dramani Mahama. One significant thing about him is that he is not going into this office. He goes back to the office of the president with the extract of the wisdom after self-introspection, having been president and having walked back at their failure, to come and exercise better judgment in the governance of our country. May you now join me with a round of applause and with ovation to welcome Excellency John Dramani Mahama to give his post-flag bearer speech. On behalf of Nanima, the people of Tamale, and on my own behalf, we are excited, and we should thank the National Executive and the Flag Bearers Office for making UDS and Tamale South the venue for this occasion. Excellency John Dramani Mahama, you may now graciously address the NDC gathering. God bless us all, and may God see him through to be President of our Republic on January 5.
Today on Newsbreak, it's the shocking state of the nation now. It is clear for all to see our nation in deplorable condition. Ghanaians continue to wonder, how did we get to this point?
Wait, doesn't Ghana belong to all of us?
And not some few individuals.
You just read my mind.
Why must someone come and spoil all that has been built for over 60 years and we still need to build it again? It's all because of the future of our children and their children. Building the Ghana we all want together.
Thank you very much. I wish to begin by thanking the Almighty God for the blessings and favor He has continued to shower on me throughout my entire political career. And I'm guided by the quotation from Romans 8:31. And it says, "What then shall we do? What then shall we say about these things?" And it concludes, "If God be for us, who can be against us?" I want to start by acknowledging the chairman and members of the Council of Elders of our great party, to recognize our national chairman, Johnson Asiedu Ketia, our general secretary, Fifi Fiavi Kwete, and the entire National Executive Committee of our party. I also acknowledge with gratitude my former chairman, Honorable Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, my running mate in the 2020 elections, Honorable Nana Jane Opoku-Agyemang, our regional chairmen and regional executives, and all our constituency executives, and especially our kingmakers, the branch executives, supporters and sympathizers of the NDC. And also to recognize our revered traditional leaders. Even though some names were mentioned, out of respect, I will just mention a few of them again. And we have Nayab Kogana, Nayab Tolonna, my uncle, Nayab Kosulana, who's chairman of our Council of Elders and has done a yeoman's job in uniting the party here in Northern Region. Nayab Nyankpalana, who was recently installed, I wish to congratulate him. Nayab Warbogulana, and my good friend and elder brother from long ago, Nayab Lamashena, Nayab Chogo Na, and the Dakwema of Tamale. I wish to acknowledge all of them. I also wish to acknowledge our minority leader, Honorable Ato Forsen, and to also acknowledge our host and my younger brother, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and all our members of parliament who have taken time to be with us today, and my fellow countrymen and women, the general viewing and listening public. I want to say thank you very much. I must add very quickly how happy I am to be speaking here at the University for Development Studies, the UDS in Tamale, having earlier launched my campaign at the University for Health and Allied Sciences in Ho, in the Volta region, two universities established by our great political tradition, the NDC. Yesterday, Sunday, 14th May, was Mother's Day. Let me use this opportunity to extend my Mother's Day appreciation to my wife, Lodina Mahama, and all Ghanaian women, fellow Akatamansonians. With profound gratitude, I humbly accept to be the presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress. I dedicate this victory to the founder of our party, Jerry John Rawlings, to my late boss and mentor, Professor John Evans Atta-Mills, to my former Vice President, Kwesi Bekwai Emisarata, and the many hundreds of our senior comrades who labored to build this political tradition that we have the privilege of leading today. And thank you for your vote of confidence and for your unshaken conviction that I am the most suitable person with the experience and vision to lead our party, the NDC, to victory in 2024. We must win the election to enable us build the Ghana we want together. I pledge to lead you to a resounding victory come December 2024. Let me, on your behalf and on my own behalf, acknowledge the contribution of Dr. Kwabena Dufo, former mayor of Kumasi, Kojo Bonsu, and Mr. Ernest Kobia, for what they have done towards enhancing the internal democratic systems of our party. I also wish to thank the staff of the Electoral Commission for their support in making our parliamentary and presidential primaries a resounding success. My special thanks go to Mr. Srebo Kweku and his district election directors for working over and above the call of duty to ensure a successful election. To you, the kingmakers of the NDC, I say thank you for electing me with a resounding 297,603 votes, which constitutes 98.9% of the total valid votes cast. This margin of victory is deafening and emphatic and resounding, and it is indicative of the unwavering singular intent of the NDC to win the 2024 election. As I crisscrossed the length and breadth of this country, clocking about 13,000 kilometers, I was reminded at every stage of the journey of the enormity of the job that is ahead of us. I accept this onerous responsibility placed on my shoulders with absolute humility and a deep sense of respect for the tough tasks that lie ahead in resetting our beloved nation Ghana to one that allows us to regain our lost glory. Ours is a nation that led the decolonization process in Africa, a nation held up as the model of democracy and governance in Africa, a nation of prudence in the management of its economy and resources. This victory is not about me, John Dramani Mahama. It is about our people and the creation of a society that allows our citizens to live a decent and dignified life. It is about expanding access to health care so that our mothers and sisters will not lose their lives carrying out their biological duty of procreation. It is about the little children whose promising future is cut short because of a dangerous boat crossing in search of an education. It is also about managing our economy and finances in a manner that does not require us to appropriate the lifetime investments of our retired senior citizens and the middle class. This victory is about raising security and investments and funds for future generations, and not just for spending in a day. It is about restoring trust once again in our institutions and engendering love and pride in the name Ghana. But first, we must win the elections in 2024. And that will require from all of us hard work and winning the trust of the people of Ghana. The NDC and Ghana's interests must therefore continue to guide and bind us all together as one people from one great family. From today, right here in the hall of the University of Development Studies, I declare that the internal competition for the flag bearership position is over. You have chosen experience with vision over experiment, and I'm confident that in December 2024, Ghanaians will make that choice that puts us back on the path of building the Ghana we want together. We must flip the coin from competition to cooperation. We need cooperation to build a better Ghana and a better NDC. I'm therefore calling for cooperation among all elected parliamentary candidates and your aspirants and supporters. Incumbent members of parliament who lost their primaries must also keep their heads up. You remain heroes for the good job you have done and continue to do. We need your experience and talents for the honors job that faces us when the good people of Ghana give us a mandate to steer the affairs of this country once more. Above all, we need you in the remaining 1.5 years of your parliamentary mandate to carry out your duties in Parliament with dedication and commitment to safeguard the interests of the Ghanaian people. And I wish to assure you that I intend to meet with these MPs at the earliest possible opportunity. I wish to assure you that you are still assets of the party, and we shall make use of the talents and experience that you have garnered. The party needs you and will continue to rely on you as we seek to win election 2024 and change the destiny of the suffering people of Ghana. We must remain one solid family. Let me emphasize and urge all of us as members of the NDC to rededicate ourselves, commit our energies and resources to work hard to win 2024. I assure you of my open-mindedness, my open-door policy, and my commitment to run a government that will be based on merit and competence. Let me reaffirm my unshaken commitment to offer the needed support to our parliamentary candidates and all constituencies to make certain that we secure a healthy majority in the next parliament. What this means for our party is that we must conclude the outstanding parliamentary elections as soon as possible so that we can focus our resources on the campaign for the upcoming national elections. I assure you that together with the National Chairman, the General Secretary, and other executives, we will plan and campaign very vigorously with clear objectives and strategic outcomes. We owe it as a duty to our country to do so, and we shall. On this note, as I dissolve my innovative, hardworking, and successful campaign coordinating team led by Professor Joshua Alabi, I wish to thank the team, my staff, my security, the media, the NDC regional chairman, regional and constituency campaign teams, and of course my wife, Lordina, my children, and my siblings, some of whom are here. Stand up, let them see you. Thank you. Thank you. And my siblings, and all others who are on this journey with me. I can never repay you for your generosity, dedication, and love for me and for our country, Ghana. Let's hold on to hope. Ladies and gentlemen, we must urgently commence building the Ghana we want together, because our dear nation Ghana is sailing through perilous seas. Our socio-economic foundation as a nation has in the last few years not only been threatened, but has been fractured and dislocated. Corruption and the raid on the public purse have come to a crescendo. The rights of citizens, including journalists, no longer matter to this government. In the last 2 years, Ghana has dropped on the Press Freedom Index Our national health insurance scheme is comatose. The scheme is starved of funds by the government capping policy and the refusal to release proceeds of the National Health Insurance Levy to the National Health Insurance Authority. Patients are faced with an empty scheme that only ensures retrieval of their medical folders and consultation. Even basic drugs, such as analgesics, cough mixtures, and antibiotics, must be purchased by patients themselves from the drugstores. For the first time in our history, retirees and the middle class are facing the existential threat to their survival and financial stability due to gross mismanagement of our economy by a grossly inept finance minister and economic management team. For the first time in known memory, newborn babies are unable to access the full complement of their childhood vaccines. Yet these newborns and the younger generation also face the heavy burden of inheriting a suffocating national debt which stands at almost 600 billion Ghana cedis, the equivalent of over 100% of our GDP. Only a fortnight ago, the government recalled members of parliament, and the main purpose for this recall was to approve a further $710 million, more debt to compound the already choking national debt. Ladies and gentlemen, the lack of vision and prospects by government is patently discomforting. And that is why we have no option but to win election 2024. This is to reset our country on a path of transformation for progress and prosperity. I come to you, the good people of Ghana, and I say there's hope for our country. That hope will emanate from our very selves as a resilient nation, a people with a passionate appetite for progress and prosperity, a people capable of rising from the ashes of catastrophe like a phoenix to build a stronger and smarter nation to serve our needs and wants. This hope also springs from a leadership that is willing to accept responsibility and fix the problems rather than pass the buck. A leadership that is honest and does not lie to its people. A leadership that is consultative and willing to build a consensus in solving the challenges that confront Ghanaians in their daily lives. I have an unshakable conviction. I believe and I know Ghana shall rise again. My vision for our beloved Ghana aligns with your expectations for a better Ghana, one that we're going to build together. Beyond my vision, ladies and gentlemen, our Constitution also gives us hope. It creates the foundation for our fourth Republican democracy, a democratic dispensation that is still the best form of government and which we must guard and protect. Because however abysmal and appalling the performance of a government is, the people have an opportunity to make a change at the next election. Clearly, the Akufo-Addo and Bawumia NPP administration has failed to meet the expectations of the Ghanaian people, and they must prepare to bow out at the next election. And they must start preparing their handing over notes. And get ready to account to the people of Ghana for their stewardship. Yes, there's hope for our country. I firmly believe in our collective ability as a party to lead a transformation agenda that restores decent values, revives youthful aspirations and ambitions. Ours will be a progressive government that provides equal opportunities for decent and sustainable livelihoods. I'm convinced that by working together with Ghanaians, we shall turn Ghana's hopelessness and gloom today into a better and brighter tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, let me dwell a bit on the destructive elephant in the room, which is the economy. Literally and figuratively, the government's economic management team has displayed grave incompetence, mismanaged Ghana's economy, and inflicted severe hardships on Ghanaians, including the elderly and the young. Ghanaians now know the address of the so-called solid economic management team, in quotes. The chairman and members of this economic management team have become the butt of jokes in people's homes, in the marketplaces, in restaurants, on social media, and on the airwaves because of their misguided commentaries both in opposition and government. As a leader, your word should always be truthful. It should be sincere and honest. It should count for something. If you are not truthful, you lose the trust of the people. Prices of goods and services continue to see extreme increases with devastating effects on the livelihood of Ghanaians. The price trends reflect the inflationary increase from 15.4% in December 2016 to over 40% presently. Unfortunately, as inflation rises, employment has not improved but has worsened. The growth rate of the agricultural sector, which was 2.7% in 2016, despite all the sloganeering, was a paltry 0.7% in 2022. The manufacturing sector, which stood at 7.9% in 2016, dipped to 4.5% in 2022. And the construction sector has gone down from 8.4% in 2016 to 4.2% in 2022. Sometimes, when I read about these terrible economic trends coupled with credit rating agencies downgrading Ghana, I ask, what has happened to the unprecedented resources that have accrued to the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia government since 2017? No government in our Fourth Republic has had the sheer amount of resources that have been made available to this particular government. And yet they have been unrelenting in hiding the truth. The fact, however, remains that by March 2020, the pre-COVID era in Ghana, the national debt had already increased by 100 billion within 3 short years. And this shows a steep rise from the 120 billion in 2016 to 225 billion in 2019. Indeed, the budget deficit of 7.5% recorded in 2018 had at that time exceeded the legally accepted threshold of 5%. Ladies and gentlemen, the combined effect of the critical economic indices before COVID-19 and after COVID-19 points to one truth. The immutable truth is that the NPP has blatantly mismanaged the economy of this country. And we cannot allow them to continue holding Ghana's progress in reverse gear. Ghana is not for a few people alone. Ghana is for all of us and generations yet unborn. As I said, we must rise like the phoenix, rising from the ashes, renew, reform, and liberate ourselves from this misrule on December 7th, 2024. And this is why I'm running for president in 2024. And this is why you voted massively for me on Saturday, May 13th, 2024. I've proposed a raft of measures and referred the government to our NDC 2020 manifesto for policy alternatives. These measures still apply today because we are neck deep in an economic crisis. The first thing, government must take responsibility for this messy economy arising from its reckless borrowing and mismanagement of the country. This is going to be one of the immediate actions of my government, God willing, when voted into office. I'll lead a process to set a standardized limit for public borrowing. Government has refused to cut expenditure by reducing the size of government and adjusting the compensation and allowances of appointees and profligate expenditure. The president is rather appointing more people and continuing to recklessly overspend. Only recently, he appointed a CEO for mortuaries and funerals. John Mahama and NDC government will respond to the concerns of the Ghanaian people proactively and drastically cut down on the number of ministers and other government appointees. There will be no room for wasting the taxpayers' money on the comfort of government officials. The NDC will reconsider the tax exemption regime, ensuring that any exemptions that are given are beneficial to the Ghanaian people. We'll further ensure that the extractive sector operates within a mutually beneficial tax environment for the stability of our exchange rate. We'll seek to make Ghana benefit more from its finite natural resources, and will encourage indigenously owned Ghanaian businesses that have the technology and capacity to operate their own productive mining concessions by themselves to do so. We have done it before, and we will do it again. Together with my team, we will enhance investor confidence in our country to attract credible domestic and foreign investors, especially in the manufacturing and light industry sector. This we will do by being transparent and not concealing economic data, such as the budget deficit, public debt, and our net international reserve. Even as we await the board of the International Monetary Fund's approval for Ghana's requested bailout by the end of May or June this year, we expect that the finance minister will urgently present a mid-year review budget to Parliament, which would include any agreements they might have reached with the fund, and also one that critically cuts down government expenditure. The 2023 budget and financial statement presented to Parliament last November currently is riding on stilts with no stability. And this is why I insist government must immediately, upon approval of Ghana's program by the fund, review the 2023 budget to reflect the realities of our economic situation today. My fellow Akatamunsonians, fellow countrymen and women, unemployment is a national security crisis today. Unemployment is at its highest level in the history of Ghana. And what must be done to help in ameliorating the challenge has not been done. From January 2025, the next NDC administration will work to transform our economy, diversify our exports, ensure value addition to our production to create more jobs. Agriculture and agribusiness shall be one of the key anchors of our economic transformation plan. We will launch a program akin to the Operation Feed Yourself and Feed Your Industries program of the early 1970s. This is geared to make Ghana self-sufficient in basic staples and curb unnecessary imports. We will seek to make indigenous entrepreneurs capture, in quotes, the commanding heights of the Ghanaian economy. In our previous stint in government, we sought to achieve this by strategically prioritizing the Tamni irrigation project, rehabilitating the Via and Tono irrigation projects, all in the Upper East region. We supported the Avnash rice processing factory here in Yankpala in the northern region. We provided fish storage facilities along the entire coastline of Ghana, and we prepared the Commander Sugar Factory for takeoff in the central region, amongst others. In the non-agricultural sector, the Wakang ceramic factory, which came alive in the western region, and the Savannah cement factory are but a few of the examples of employment opportunities we created when we were in office. And remember, we also injected 51 million Ghana cedis into the pharmaceutical sector for expansion and job creation. And our foresight became a windfall when COVID-19 struck our shores. Let me restate what I said in Ho during the launch of my campaign for flag bearer. I said we shall promote robust local participation in our banking and financial, telecommunications, tourism, mining, agribusiness, and manufacturing sectors to grow our economy and create sustainable employment for our youth. We will restore indigenous Ghanaian investment in the financing and banking sector. And we will create a tiered banking system that will serve various segments of the market. We will give the opportunity for experienced banking hands who were laid off and needlessly to secure their careers once more and move away from the menial jobs that they were compelled to take. As far as practicable, the banking licenses that were unjustly cancelled by this government will be restored. Ladies and gentlemen, our nation is still at the crossroads with crippling debts and an inefficient and wasteful government. We cannot continue this pathway. It is a betrayal of our people as a leader to keep doing things the same way when the results leave them poorer. I am committed to operating an effective government with no more than 60 ministers. These ministers, together with other appointees of the government, will not be entitled to ex gratia payments after their tenure. As I will make them commit to that undertaking even before the necessary constitutional amendments, including a review of the controversial Article 71, is carried out. I share the view that Ghanaians in the diaspora must no longer have to renounce their foreign citizenship before they can stand for elections or hold public office in Ghana. I personally believe that most of them make up for their absence with the remittances that they send. And definitely, if conditions improve, a lot of them will return home to work here in Ghana. In fact, some Ghanaians in the diaspora have proven to be extremely beneficial to our country. Take, for instance, Professor Frimpong Boateng of the Cardiothoracic Center fame, who returned from Germany to establish the Cardio Center and has saved many Ghanaian lives. Since the professor's return, he has contributed his significant bit in medicine and in politics. And only recently, an Al Jazeera documentary accusing President Akufo-Addo and his government of organized crime in collusion with a foreigner, it also emerged that the heart surgeon had 2 years ago boldly exposed the duplicity of the MPP government in the fight against Galamsey. His report has opened a can of worms, which I know this president, in his usual manner, will sweep under the carpet, just as many corruption scandals have been cleared by who is called the clearing agent. We shall pursue this matter further and make sure that justice is done. The truth is that this government cannot just wish away the reality that Ghana is not looking good on the Corruption Perception Index of Transparency International. The president no longer makes corruption a pet topic in any of his speeches because corruption has defeated him hands down. In the government's bid to obscure corruption, they have resorted to suppressing press freedoms and an inordinate clampdown of civil society activists, including even members of parliament who dare to expose corruption. And let me assure you, as I stated in Garu in the Upper East during my campaign tour, that I will adopt a robust root and branch approach to fighting corruption. Because corruption is a major source through which state resources are lost. It will not matter whether the people involved in the corruption are our own people or from some other party. We will continue the constitution review process commenced by President John Evans Atta Mills of blessed memory, and we will carry it to its logical conclusion. This will help to plug the loopholes and clarify some clauses in our Constitution and make it responsive to our current reality. My fellow Tamansonians, Eyezu, Eyeza, Ehejo, Emefa, hey, hey, hey. Thank you. I began by thanking you, my party delegates, for voting massively for me on Saturday. And I promise that I'll fulfill every promise I made to you during my visits to your constituencies. All the promises I made in the 16 regions of Ghana between March and 12 May 2023, I intend to fulfill. I'll be working with the National Chairman, the General Secretary, and the leadership of our party to build a formidable National Democratic Congress, one that every Ghanaian will be proud to associate with. And Ghanaians should keep in mind that the NDC has provided the most impactful socio-economic and development projects across the length and breadth of this country. I make a firm promise to ensure that our 2024 campaign is fully decentralized by empowering our branches to lead the voter mobilization and voting day canvassing. And they will be supported by the constituency and regional executives, and of course by national and the flag bearer. Empowering the branches and motivating them and ensuring that we deploy the needed material and logistics, I remain convinced will help our campaigning and canvassing in 2024. We must all embrace and support an equitable distribution of party logistics to the branches, because this will strengthen the branches and encourage competition, even as we plan to reward each branch adequately for meeting the targets that we're going to set them in 2024. In the next few months, we'll begin redeeming our promise to help constituencies that currently do not own their own offices to acquire offices. And we'll commence the organization of periodic orientation and training programs by our party school for all our executives. Ladies and gentlemen, and the millions following us from Ghana and across the world, as I conclude before I take my seat, I want to reiterate some of the other commitments I made to the people of Ghana on the campaign tour. I want you to remember them so that you can hold me accountable when I come into office. I will keep these promises when I assume office on January 7th, 2025, God willing. We will restore stability and inclusive growth in the economy, and we shall rejuvenate the almost collapsed banks and the financial sector. And this will involve sweeping reforms at the Bank of Ghana, because the central bank itself has been a part of creating this problem. I'll create the foundation that will ensure that Ghana will never suffer such a deadly debt management program that threatens to send our elderly people holding government bonds to an early grave and wipe out the investments of the Ghanaian middle class. I'll prioritize local participation in the banking, financial, telecoms, mining, oil and gas, agriculture, manufacturing and construction sectors to generate more jobs for our youth. The Ghanaian young men and women we interact with on a daily basis and their colleagues in other African countries are simply tired of the jobless GDP figures. We will actively attract viable and serious private sector investors to partner government to invest in the productive sectors of this country for more jobs to be created. I will advocate strongly the return of investors who have left because of the poor management of this economy by NPP. This will involve an emphasis on agriculture and agribusiness and will have a strong focus on making Ghanaians own their own micro enterprises. I'll complete abandoned and ongoing projects instead of rushing to start new ones. We will carry out an inventory of all hospitals, schools, electrification, water, and road projects which have stalled or been abandoned, and we will make an annual budgetary allocation for their completion. Beyond the economic front, we will also be very strong on governance, because transparent and accountable governance at all levels remains an assured fuel that fires the socio-economic transformation of successful nations. In that regard, we will establish a Governance Advisory Council to help improve political governance, curb corruption, and ensure the respect of human rights. This council will include representatives of civil society organizations, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and ordinary Ghanaians. And amongst others, they will be empowered to release a State of Governance in Ghana report every year. This report will guide government in fine-tuning our good governance record. And as I said already, I'll run the leanest but most efficient government under the Fourth Republic by appointing not more than 60 ministers and deputy ministers. And I said already, I'll work to abolish the payment of ex gratia and cut out waste and ostentation in government. We shall work with Parliament and all stakeholders to complete the Constitution review process and strengthen the separation of powers. Government procurement is recognized as a major source of corruption and misappropriation of public funds. We will therefore, among other measures, set up an independent value for money office to scrutinize all government procurements that are above a $5 million threshold, or as shall be recommended by Parliament. I will give anti-corruption state institutions unfettered space to operate. The days of the clearing agent must come to an end on January 7, 2025. I'll also set up a commission of inquiry to investigate the matter of looted and stolen state lands. And the same commission will make recommendations for resolving the vexed issue of expropriated Ga-Dangbe lands. And to deepen our democracy, the fourth estate of the realm, the media must also be given a conducive and collaborative atmosphere to operate as the fourth power that they ought to be, without threats, harassment, and assassinations. In this regard, we shall speed up the investigation of the assassination of Ahmed Swale. And the perpetrators shall surely be brought to book. We are starting off in earnest, and I'll be outlining other policies and strategies in the course of the 2024 campaign and also in our 2024 manifesto conversations. Let me emphasize that Ghana is in this severe and acute financial distress, with suffocating levels of unemployment due to the reckless mismanagement of the economy by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government. But there is hope, and that hope can be fast-tracked if we choose vision with experience over try me and experiment, especially at this crucial time in our nation's life. The NDC delegates have shown the way by electing me with a definite 98.9%, or in mathematical terms, you always adjust to the nearest number. And so 98.9% is 99%. And this is indicative of their elevated faith and conviction in my ability to provide honest, visionary, and responsible leadership. They did so not only based on our solid record of achievements, but also on the concrete, sincere assurances I've given to transform our cherished country, Ghana,
by building the Ghana we want together. That transformation will demand your cooperation, and that cooperation begins from today. In building the Ghana we want together, we will need you, every Ghanaian, including the disappointed NPP members. Including the disappointed NPP members who are appalled by the arrogance, untruthfulness, mismanagement, corruption, and nepotism of their own government. I invite all such persons to join us in this rebuilding mission. We will also need you, every Ghanaian who wants to have a project or program in agriculture, including horticulture, aquaculture, small businesses, manufacturing, construction services, extractive industry, but has been impeded by the illicit demands of officials of this government. The next NDC government is your home. We will need you, every Ghanaian who believes that merit must be recognized and compensated, and not favoritism taking the center stage. And we'll need you if you genuinely believe we have had enough of the incompetence and mismanagement of this government over the last 6.5 years. Enough is indeed enough. Ghanaians have suffered enough hardship and misrule from this bungling and rapacious Akufo-Addo administration. Let us complete the task we have started by campaigning day and night for your humble servant, John Dramani Mahama. And also campaign for all our parliamentary candidates elected across the country. My brothers and sisters, I urge you to campaign vigorously in every corner of the country, on radio, on television, on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram. And even in your private conversations. NDC members, our sympathizers, our supporters, I make you this promise. For all those who will vote for NDC, I promise you, we shall protect your vote. Your votes will not only be counted, but your votes will count in making a change in our country, Ghana. Your vote will propel the NDC into office. And with a team led by me, by the grace of God, we are ready and willing with the vision and experience to build the Ghana we want together with you. Ladies and gentlemen, victory will not only be for NDC, it will be for the whole nation Ghana in December 2024. And when this victory comes, there shall be work and happiness for all Ghanaians. I thank you, and God bless us all, and God bless our homeland Ghana. Thank you.
Mahama officially making his acceptance speech after winning 98.9% of the votes. There in your live shots you have the former president who has just finished addressing a gathering at the University of Development Studies. We can get you some live pictures of what's transpiring there now, as of course the former president has just concluded a statement making a number of promises and giving assurances to the people of Ghana that indeed their votes will count, and also asking Ghanaians to canvass for more votes as he seeks to make a comeback in the 2024 general elections. We're, of course, going to be monitoring developments live there in Tamale, where the activities are happening, and also bring you up to speed with what's happening there. But I want to bring in, at this point, one man who's also been monitoring the exercise, a national executive of the party. Let's speak to the deputy national organizer of the NDC, Elikem Kotoko, who's joining us via Zoom now. Thank you, sir, for your time. So we've seen John Mahama set the stage for what is likely to be the NDC's theme for coming back into the 2024 elections. He says that he is ready to build, asking the NPP to start preparing their handing over notes. It's as though he's ready and confident that he is taking over in 2024. Why not wait for the other side to also complete their reorganization exercise?
Thank you so much, Bless, for having me, and also to your cherished viewers. I think President Mahama knows the task ahead, and he knows Ghanaians have a certain expectation of him. It is just right that immediately after being declared winner, he lays his boots and kick the ground running by delivering his acceptance speech, and significantly from the northern region, which is one of the core strongholds of the party. And so it was just proper that he made that sound warning, send that sound warning, and also declare to the Ghanaian that, look, I am the one you can trust. I am the most experienced. I'm the one with vision. You see, he did mention that we want vision with experience, not experiment. And you would agree with me, as well as your many viewers, that this economy has been experimented with by textbook economists for far too long, and it has actually sunk us deeper into the mess or the ditch we find ourselves. Today we cannot find the man, but we only hear a lot of rhetorics, blame games, and not taking responsibility in any way for any of their actions. Meanwhile, we are here because we have leadership that has failed and disappointed Ghanaians.
Of course, when we talk about the decision, many are now pointing to possibly why John Mahama will decide to make his acceptance speech in the northern parts of the country, particularly Tamale, where, of course, he has been reported to have some issues with the MP for the area. We've seen that handshake there on the stage. Is that to signify that all is well with the party, and that all that's happening at the parliamentary level may not cripple John Mahama's chances of coming back?
Those are very baseless, non-existent accusations or allegations being leveled by persons who find it difficult to see the strength of bond between President Mahama and the people in the in Parliament, etc. I'm sure you are referring to Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and let me not shy away from the truth to say that there's absolutely no friction, none of such between them. You would agree with me also that ever since their change and all of that, President Mahama and Honorable Haruna Idrisu have maintained and continue to engage each other and have a very good, cordial relationship. The choice of the northern region is only because it is one of our strongholds. And come on, it's an icing on the cake, knowing the fact that our flag bearer also comes from the north. And so, the hitting of the ground should start from there. As I speak with you, some officials or some other persons will begin to take the campaign to the doorsteps of people. It is not only going to be door to door this time around, but rather occupying every available space that is occupied by humans.
The promises John Mahama is making, by the way, has raised a number of questions. Why make these promises when you had the opportunity to be president before? It's the question on the minds of a lot of Ghanaians asking, what would be different now? You had the opportunity and you're still making promises as of now.
When you take the unsolved metrics in marketing, the unsolved metrics gives you in the fourth block indication. And what I want to focus on is President Mahama's character as an existing product, but finding itself in an entirely politically new environment. The dynamics are different, which is why it's a new environment. He is more experienced, and the most experienced of all who will be contesting for that position come December 7, 2024. There's nobody that will be contesting the elections that will be more experienced than John Dramani Mahama. That is one fact we must make Ghanaians know. He has experienced it, and he has sat back 2 terms, 8 years, to observe as well. He has equally learned his lesson. He has realized that, for instance, promises such as making sure that the number of ministers will be limited to 60 is very doable, because a regime that told us that they had a problem at hand with 125 ministries could not solve our problems. And therefore, he is making Ghanaians that promise that, look, this is not the first time he's saying that. He said it the last time at Kempinski also, that he's going to make sure that he does that by sticking to 60 ministers. He also did say a lot of things about jobs in the agri and agribusiness sector. These are things that are not rocket science, that requires just basic understanding and appreciation of the challenges that are confronting us as a people in this country. And therefore, when he is talking consistently of reforms and transformation, that is as a result of the fact that as a leader, he has sat back and found out that, look, a lot of reforms will help us. And it is starting with even he himself. That is why he did mention of Article 71 office holders. And he did tackle corruption head on. You would agree with me, as well as many of our viewers, that President Nana have contributed immensely towards the growth of and development of this country. And so he is finding avenues to make sure that they get involved in governance, and so that they are not ostracized and made to feel like they are outsiders rather. So, and don't also forget lastly that he also did mention that there will not be ex gratia. Those are very bold steps to take by a leader. Don't forget President Akufo-Addo and his vice president made a lot of rhetorics that have actually is now biting them. But you know John Dramani Mahama, for one thing, he does what he says. He walks the talk. And so it is not surprising listening to what he was saying. And you could sense that there's some relief listening to a leader for once in a while. And if you in the media even do your fact check, you realize that this is a true leader who is speaking facts and very sincere to the Ghanaian, not one who will say otherwise and will not be backed by any facts. When we want to go back to cross-check, we'll be realizing a lot of anomalies.
What's next for John Mahama? Now he's the leader of the party. What processes are you putting in motion as a political party?
I cannot tell how long, but soon he would as well consult. He will continue with consultation with stakeholders, Council of Elders, leadership, and nationwide consultation in selection of his running mate. And the choice of running mate also matters most to him, because that is, apart from the fact that it's the constitutional provision, he is required to do that to ensure that this is somebody he is comfortable with, somebody he trusts to be competent enough, somebody he trusts that can complement his effort to secure victory for the NDC come December 7, 2024. Are you suggesting
at this point that the good old professor may not be retained by the party?
I have never said any such in any slightest opinion. All I'm saying is that the prerogative lies with President Mahama to settle on a running mate. As to whether it should be the very good old professor who has helped him even improve on his records in terms of number of votes in the last elections, compared to the 2016 elections, the choice still remains his as to whether he thinks that Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman is still credible, competent, and best fit to be his running mate to garner more votes the way she helped him do in 2020.
And why not automate the process? Why do you have to go through the process again of choosing who may be the next vice presidential candidate of the party when, of course, this is the same team that went into the 2020 elections? Is it the case that you're not confident and that factors may change which will warrant the need for a new face as the vice presidential candidate?
This is just a constitutional provision per our constitution as a party, that after the flag bearer is elected, he then gives his acceptance speech and given some time to actually make known his running mate. And therefore, it is just the same way as we will say in the national constitution, that when you take office, there's a transition period or you declare assets. You don't say that because the same regime took office in 2017 and has taken office in 2020, and therefore they should not do what is mandated by the Constitution. In effect, then you are saying that we should not even swear in the president again, because he was the same president from 2017 to 2020.
That's not what I'm suggesting. You know the import of my question too well. You've been disrupting a lot in terms of the establishment. And when I say that, that's also the fear of some experts, that almost everything has changed about the national leadership of the NDC. You've changed not just at the political level, you've done that in Parliament. You're retaining John Mahama. Many say, just go with the second choice for the 2020 elections, who happens to be the professor. Any change may affect your fortunes. You agree?
I agree with you, but not entirely. However, let me tell you that my personal opinion is that I do not see President Mahama changing Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. However, that power cannot be usurped by me. It is the prerogative of the flag bearer to do so, because a lot of pros and cons comes to mind. Many people will say you need a succession plan, you need somebody who can take over to also become president, but forgetting that President Akufo-Addo was not vice president of John Kufuor, but he has become president. And therefore, some of the analysis, though I wouldn't say are baseless, have some merit, which will all be looked at. And it is the reason why the most credible person whose intent matters most is the flag bearer himself, who needs somebody credible, competent, and fit for purpose that he will be very comfortable with to operate as president.
And you say that process is starting when?
Oh, the process is in motion. So the very moment he's been elected, he knows himself that the next thing for him to do is to settle on a running mate who he deems fit. And that, I believe, has begun even in his mind. I won't be surprised that even while delivering his speech, there would have been some points where he would have wished to say, we, myself and my running mate, but he knows he doesn't have now, and therefore he would say, I, knowing very well that that time would also come, and he would say, we, in reference to both he himself.
Okay, Elikim, let me make you a bit uncomfortable, because it's a conversation that's been on the tables for the NDC. This sharp divide about getting a running mate from the Volta region as part of moves to, first of all, affirm your commitment to what's known, widely accepted as your stronghold. The belief is that by choosing a vice presidential candidate from that side, you'll be solidifying your gains for 2024. Others think otherwise. You're taking notice of these arguments?
I am a proud Ghanaian from the Volta region. If a running mate is chosen from the Volta region, I would say hooray. I'll be very happy. However, it is not the sole yardstick for the regional, coming from Volta region cannot be the sole yardstick to have a vice president.
Yeah, but I'm saying this because you are aware of the conversations going around.
Frankly, I am not. I'm being very sincere with you. I am not.
No, that's surprising. Of course, even before the 2020 elections, there was a coalition asking for the vice presidential candidate to come from the Volta region. You're well aware of this.
I haven't heard of that coalition again.
That's strange. Again? Are you saying again?
Yes, I haven't heard of that yet. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, but they used to exist. They used to exist. You agree?
Well, in the past, I recall there was such. That is why I'm telling you that, fortunately, you are even speaking to me, a proud Voltarian, born in Abo, lived in Abalavi, schooled at Agbozume and from Amfuega. You get my point, 100% away. So I'll be very happy to have somebody from the Volta region. But that alone cannot be the yardstick. I will be too tribal to want it to be solely a Voltarian. We want somebody who is best fit for the purpose, who can make the president or the flag bearer comfortable. And therefore, he will scan around. The NDC is not in short supply of competent brains, men and women. And therefore, it is never a problem. It is one of the reasons why, if you have noticed, there is always consensus in times of this nature within the NDC. Definitely, as a human institution, people will have their preferences based on either relation, network, or some other variables. However, there can be space for only one person. So the flag bearer will definitely choose only one person. Some may not be so happy, etc. But we always find a common grounds to unite and agree that we must all agree to what the flag bearer believes is the case. I am sure you would agree with me that when even Professor Nana Jane Opoku was chosen by President Mahama the last time, some people also opposed, etc. They had their reservations, which was competently okay. But as we moved along the line, you saw how everybody jumped on the wagon, and our results were better than even in 2016. That alone is a strong message and a strong signal to tell you that in the NDC, there's no discrimination based on race, tribe, etc., but rather we are an equal opportunity provider to anybody who proves he or she is capable.
Okay, give us a sense of who matters most in terms of bringing to bear influence on John Mahama if he floats the thought of who is likely to be the next vice presidential candidate for the NDC. Within your structures, what process will that go through?
From my background, even as a student of marketing, I would say that, like you said yourself, why change a winning team? And I have given you an example.
That's not what I'm asking about. I know you too well. I know that, of course, you would advance your arguments, but it's about what's happening within your political party now. The search and the conversations around who becomes the vice presidential candidate. I'm just asking some of the likely processes, which factions or blocks or structures within the NDC will exert some level of influence on John Mahama.
There is definitely going to be a search that is supposed to be spearheaded by the flag bearer himself. Possible candidates' names may come out. In fact, even if you as a member of the party watching us believes that A situated in XYZ is the most preferred candidate, you can actually submit that as well in order to give a consideration. And therefore, the whole process is so free that it is to allow for wider consultation. That is why I told you that the flag bearer will be the first person to do that consultation within himself. Who, I kept saying some things, who is most credible, who is more competent, and who would I be very comfortable and deem fit for purpose. So when he looks at all these checklists and okays a particular candidate, one or two, he may suggest that, okay, I want to go with the same flag running mate I went with in 2020 because I don't see any reason for a change. We even improved on our records compared to 2016. Or I want to change. Or because we still believe that we want to open the door for our women in order to get them walk through and promote gender advancement for our females. Let me still keep to Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Or I think that based on A, B, or C, I want to look this way. So I cannot be in the head of President Mahama, but I know that the search is ongoing from his end. The Council of Elders, the leadership will also be involved at various points in arriving at this. And I mean, you know it very well, the way it went the last time. It is the same process, and eventually it will be another beautiful ceremony to outdoor even the running mate.
And that will be?
The time will be communicated soon. That will not be so long because we are battle ready and we want to get to hitting the ground.
So it will be Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman?
It might be, but I'm not saying it is. I hope you understand.
I mean, what did she bring to the table during the 2020 in your estimation?
Okay, Professor Jane Nana is unblemished. He has an unblemished record. You can't find a dent on her, number one. Number two, she's from the academia. She has lived her work, you know. She's not just a talker. She has worked at she was the first female vice chancellor as well. She has held other positions as a minister of education, and that alone is not enough. The icing on the cake also is that she's female, which is a strong trump card for a political party in this current dispensation where we are advancing the he for she and all of that.
I get that.
And so
all of that, I mean, yes, give it to her in terms of the credit. But then, for instance, when I was speaking to the chairperson of the party a while ago, when the changes were made at the parliamentary level, he pointed out to regional balance, right? So the national executives would obviously be mindful of that as you draw the attention of John Mahama on who possibly may be the vice presidential candidate. You now have the Central Caucus taking over the majority leadership in Parliament. Changes have been made at the national level with some positions going to all sorts of regions and everybody taking their portfolio within the national leadership of the party. So giving that account, the fear is that it may not go, politically speaking, back to the central region.
Well, I don't know who is entertaining that fear, if it is you or it is our party.
I'm not a delegate of the party yet.
Because I can tell you on authority that our delegates are not entertaining such fear. Rather, they are only looking out for the most competent, credible, and person who will make fit for purpose and make the flag bearer comfortable in running the affairs of this country. Because, mind you, the NDC is not only hopeful, we are very sure about victory come December 7th, and we are sure of forming the next government come January 7th, 2025. Therefore, President Mahama is not just choosing a running mate, he is choosing a vice president.
Okay. Just hold on for us. A lot developing this afternoon that you'd, of course, have to respond to. Dr. Dufour's camp is also out with a statement on the entire exercise. They've been speaking about the process. First of all, with Dufour himself denying claims that he may be running independent. So let's get to the statement then, as we have it coming through from Dr. Kwabena Dufour. He was the one who withdrew from that exercise on the eve, allowing that two-way race between Kojo Bonsu and John Dramani Mahama. So the statement reads that I have become aware of some concerns from rank and file of the NDC that I intend to leave the National Democratic Congress to form another political party. I wish to state that I have no such intentions. I remain committed to the NDC as I always have been. The NDC is my home, as it is for all of us, and I will always remain loyal to our party. Let's come together towards the cause of victory for our party and progress for our nation. The NDC belongs to us, and we have a charge to keep its flame burning. So let's get to work. When I joined the race for the flag bearership of the National Democratic Congress, I was motivated by my desire to actually see our party thrive as a political party of choice for every Ghanaian. Today, that motivation remains unchanged. Like many before me, I understand the collective good of our party and the fact that it overrides our personal goals and desires. The internal contest of ideas we engage in is simply a means to a common end. That is to build upon the hard work legacy that we have come to meet. But if there's any more I have gained from this period, it is the deepening of my love for this great party from the stories of people I was privileged to meet on the campaign trail. As such, I remain committed towards the cause of the National Democratic Congress, and as I've said in times past, for as long as our quest for a better Ghana endures, he will continue to support the party. Then he continues to say that as Ghana's leading opposition party, the Ghanaian people are looking up to us to deliver the much needed political change this country needs. This will require us to upscale our vigilance and insist that the right to democratic processes are followed before, during, and after the 2024 elections. It was in the spirit that I insisted that we address the challenges that were fraught with our voters register and the photo album, which resulted in my withdrawal from the presidential race. If we are to succeed as a political party in reaching our goals, we cannot afford to compromise on our founding ideals of probity and accountability. Those virtues are the torch which guides our party and gives purpose to all we do. Without them, we will lose our identity and our ability to hold others accountable in similar circumstances. So, excerpts of the statement released by Dr. Dufour's team. Elikem, just hold on for us. Let's hear from Antonio Ashinyo. He speaks for the Dufour campaign. Thank you, sir, for your time here on the Pulse. You're still pointing out to some irregularities that have characterized this whole exercise. Why are you insistent on that as the Dufour campaign?
Listen, good afternoon, and good afternoon to my brother Elikem. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Okay. The thrust of that statement is to reinforce Dr. Kwabena Dufour's commitment to the NDC and to put away all rumors or concern by the rank and file that he's going to go independent. So that is the thrust of that statement. Dr. Dufour is going to continue to be an NDC member, and most importantly, he's going to continue to invest in the grassroots through his Ahonto project. He's committed to doing everything to ensure that he works with everyone in the party for us to win the 2024 elections.
And when you say that he remains committed to the party, except to say that the ideals of the party are being tested and tried now, as you put out in the statement, of probity, accountability, is it the case that he does not find the NDC? Is it the case that he does not find the NDC the exact way its founders left it, with the ideals of probity and accountability, as you are pointing to in that statement?
Dr. Dufour is a loyal NDC member. He was not satisfied and still not satisfied with some concerns that he raised with the party, and he did not feel that the party addressed them correctly. He responsibly decided to engage the party's Council of Elders and party leadership. At the time, he needed to make a decision whether to contest or not. He had questioned the photo album, whatever you want to call it. It would not be right for him to question the process and still be part of it. So on principle, he decided to withdraw. He did not tell party people not to go vote, but he registered his displeasure. And it's important to note that the party, I am sure, has learned lessons, and going forward, we will get it right. So we can decide to move on and build a party in order to restore power come 2024. So the trust of that statement, I want to re-emphasize, is to answer the question whether Dr. Dufour is going to stay in the NDC or going to go independent or join any political party. I am telling you on authority that Dr. Dufour is doing no such. He's going to work with the NDC to ensure that we win power come 2024.
And I guess all of this is coming out because of his political future and what the options are for him now. Elikem just talking to us a few minutes ago about what the next steps will be, and that John Mahama is looking for, well, not necessarily looking for, or maybe looking for the next vice presidential candidate. How about taking that job? Dr. Dufour may be a fine vice presidential candidate material. You know that it will be about the economy, as you're saying, in 2024. Why not take that job, by the way?
Dr. Dufour, to start with, that decision would be coming from the president in consultation with others. Dr. Dufour does not need necessarily to be vice president. What Dr. Dufour is looking for is for a stronger NDC that is able to govern this country properly. He believes the NDC is a better vehicle than the NPP. Of course, we do have different opinion on how to arrive at our destination. But as a political party, we've selected the leader, and we hope that the political party would win and not necessarily the leader. So what he's looking for is the collective interest of the NDC, not the ambition of any particular individual, including himself. So if you realize what he's talking about is building the structures of the party, making sure that we are vigilant, and he's exhibited it through his action. He demonstrated that he would be able to protect it, and the party, I'm sure, can learn from this experience and become stronger. So Dr. Dufour's focus is mainly on the strength, building a stronger party and collectively winning, not particularly an individual ambition. That's they are entitled to. But his focus now, as Dr. Kwabena Dufour, is to make sure that the NDC is stronger, the grassroots is empowered, and we are an attractive, sustainable political party.
And will he not be shooting himself in the foot by supporting the NDC and its re-election bid without necessarily endorsing John Dramani Mahama? And what's strange is that after the internal contest, we have Kojo Bonsu, for instance, reaching out to John Mahama, congratulating John Mahama on his 98.9. John Mahama says it's 99 virtually % of victory. And yet, Dr. Dufour has not made any statement. First of all, congratulating John Dramani Mahama, or at least making a comment on the outcome.
The NDC is a political party made up of millions of people. The contest, as you have it, was between Kojo Bonsu and the former president. There is no reason for Dr. Dufour to endorse or call anyone to congratulate anyone because he wasn't part of the process. So the expectation or the call for it means that the 4 million people or 5 million people should be calling the former president to congratulate him. There is no basis for that call. What the focus should be for every party member is how the party is going to galvanize to win power come 2024. And that is what Dr. Dufour is focused on.
Why are we pretending about this? This is one man who was in the race, pulled out on the eve of the elections.
We are not pretending about it. The fact is that the contest was between two individuals, Mr. Kojo Bonsu and the former president, John Dramani Mahama. That is a fact. So Dr. Dufour has no basis to call anyone, to congratulate anyone when he is not part of the process. He wasn't. He did not contest.
But
the focus should be his commitment to the larger group, which is the NDC. And the leader of the NDC is John Dramani Mahama. However, he is carried by the party. So if the party is stronger, John Dramani Mahama inevitably is stronger. So Dr. Dufour's investment, whatever he does, is to the collective good of the party. And the former president is the leader of the party. There is no need to personalize it. It's an institution, it's a collective.
Okay, except to say that you need to fill the candidate.
Exactly.
Who is John Dramani Mahama?
Yes, he is.
I see. Just hold on for me. Let me get the thoughts of Elikem on this. Elikem, you've been listening to Antonio raise a number of concerns. And what's key in that statement has got to do with the ideals of the party, probity and accountability. It appears you've not shown that through the internal exercise. I mean, John Mahama winning by 98.9% or 99% virtually. I mean, that's almost like 100% of the endorsements coming through from all members of the NDC. It's a bit artificial, isn't it?
Thank you, Bless. There's nothing artificial about that. It tells you how democratic the process is. You see, that is why when Dr. Dufour raised concerns about, I heard my brother also talking about a photo album. I am so sorry, but let me put it on record here that the primary document for the election exercise or electoral exercise was the delegates list, which was the same thing presented to all candidates, including then candidate Dufour, which he used to crisscross this country to campaign. I strongly respect him as a statesman, having done the needful by coming out clear to diffuse some of those wild allegations about he going independent, etc. And I'm so sorry, but to put on record that if people around him who are speaking for him and on his behalf and doing his PR are saying that there's no need for he to even call President John Dramani Mahama, I am sorry the people around him are the ones stoking the fire. Because you and I know that as a statesman, Dr. Dufour doesn't need to have been a candidate before even reaching out to John Dramani Mahama to congratulate him. That is one known fact. As young as we all are, this is a basic logic we all know. And you don't mean to say that because the NDC has 5 million people, or 5 million will be calling. You would agree with me that by now his phone is buzzing and a lot of messages are going in there. And for a spokesperson for Dr. Dufour to now rather come and say that there's absolutely no need to even reach out to John Dramani Mahama to congratulate him, that I am sorry is unacceptable.
He says the commitment is to the party interest, right?
But you see, who is heading the party at the moment? Who is leading the party? The point of the matter is that, Bless, for instance, when you decide to even speak to the NDC, you can't just say you are speaking to the NDC. Nobody's called the NDC. You chose to speak with myself and Adam. I'm the deputy national organizer. Would you say I want to speak to the party and the party itself will speak with you? How then would you be able to reinvigorate the base, the party, the grassroots, when you have not been able to even call the flag bearer to congratulate him? I'm so sorry. I have found this to be very petty and needless. There could have been a professional way to have done that. Either to just say it was done, or he definitely will be doing that, or intends to go and visit him rather than place a call. But to say there's no need, I am sorry. That is a disappointment to people who speak for Dr. Dufour, and they have let him down. The people watching us can tell plainly that that is an unacceptable communication out there.
Oh, but he's working for the man who's put out the statement. He knows too well what Dr. Dufour is feeling now.
That is why I'm telling you this. Because you see, when you were reading Dr. Dufour's statement,
yes, precisely.
I was so wowed. I was happy from the very beginning to the very end that indeed this is a true statesman and person who has the ideology of the party imbibed in him and who knows the right things, have held stronger positions in the party before. And so if you had wanted to be, and you see, when Dr. Dufour had a challenge with the process, the NDC didn't need to do too much talk. The NDC rather had to put the work in action so that in the entire process, Ghanaians will see for themselves. Did you hear people complaining that my name was not in the register? I didn't. No, it was a very smooth process, which tells you that the NDC's position that the delegates list was the primary and authentic source document for the electoral process is still so valid. And that was why the album, which was just aimed at enhancing the process, was not a basis for which you call up. It is okay to draw cold feet and find some straws to lash onto anyway. But then I feel that Dr. Dufo has shown leadership, an exemplary one for that matter. But his spokespersons are damaging him more.
Antonio?
I will ignore those emotive comments from Elikem. To start with, Elikem that is not a consultant, Dr. Dufo. He does not advise us. The position that we've taken, and it is not a personal position, it's the candidate's position, is that there is no need. If Elikem is expecting us to make a call, or expecting me, Antonio, to make a call, he should say so. I am speaking for Dr. Kwabena Dufo, and I'm saying that Dr. Kwabena Dufo has not placed any call. He does not intend to. His commitment is to the party. And whatever the party decides to do, that is what will be done. So Elikem must calm down and know that we do not take advice from him, and we do not intend to, because even him, as a party official, he understands. So we respect that. So we've also taken a decision. You cannot refer to that decision as petty just because you do not agree to it. That is what is unacceptable. Your choice of words. Describing someone's decision as petty means that you are basically you don't tolerate different opinions. Dr. Dufo is not. He has not called the former president.
And will not, I guess.
That statement he has issued is a commitment to the party and to ensure that we are ready for 2024. We don't need to fight over this. We've moved on.
Bless, may I come in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you imagine the irony that my boss will not reach out to the leader who has just won the elections, but my boss is ready to deal with the party that the leader is coming to lead? Tell me this is not petty.
I don't know how you arrive at that logic. And that's what we keep saying. There is no need personalizing this process. There is no need at all. He opted out of the competition. He was not a participant, so he's not ready.
He doesn't have to be a participant.
Elikem, just allow Antonio to land on the point, and then I'll allow. Yes.
Thank you. The person had already questioned the process. He's opted out. So what's his business commenting about the process or the outcome of it? On principle, he has no business commenting about it because he has questioned the process. And this is he being consistent with principle, something that most people have lost.
Okay.
Antonio, if I get your point right, the Dufo campaign still does not recognize John Mahama as the legitimate leader of the NDC. Is that the point you're making?
Elikem, will you allow him to ask the question?
Okay, yes, let me do my job. Elikem, allow me to ask the questions. Yes. Mm-hmm.
What's the question, please?
Yes. So if I'm to get the import of what you're saying, you're basically saying that the Dufo campaign still does not recognize John Mahama as the legitimate leader of the party.
No, that's not what the statement that we've issued states. The statement we have issued is in response to the rank and file concern that Dr. Dufo, and we do not know who engineered that anyway, because we saw it in a news article that Dr. Dufo is going to go independent. He's going to go form his own party or join the MPP. And we are saying that none of that is happening. As we speak, we just finished the election. The party just finished the election. Oh, God, it's off.
Antonio?
My phone.
Oh, apologies. We've lost Antonio there, so that we'll reconnect with him. Okay, so let's wrap up with you, Elikem. We have a few minutes to go, so your final comments on this. Yes.
Bless. You see, I would have to reiterate this again, and this is not to personalize it. I said that the handlers of Dr. Dufo are doing him damage because such commentary is divisive and very unprofessional. If, for instance, you are saying that because Dr. Dufo pulled out of the race, he therefore has no locus. He will not even call President Mahama to congratulate him. You are in effect saying that you are even still questioning the legitimacy of his elections. But you feel that you would go around him through who to actually do work for the party. I am so sad to say that this is not rocket science, and your viewers would agree with me on this. But that aside, I must say that Dr. Dufo's statement came right on time. He has, in his own statement, rather than so good than his handlers who are speaking.
Okay, let's leave that aside for now. And of course, we'll reconnect sometime later. Elikem Kotoko, Deputy National Organizer of the NDC, joining us. And Antonia Shinyo speaks for the Dufo campaign. So that's it about the NDC. But what about the governing New Patriotic Party? We know that the NPP will be next in line looking for its next leader. There's a caution from the head of the political science department at the University of Ghana, Professor Alidu Seidu, who's been wading into this whole contest and internal primaries between the National Democratic Congress, within the National Democratic Congress and the governing New Patriotic Party. But he has a warning for leaders of the NPP not to skew the processes to favor a political party candidate who he believes is right now serving in power. He explains why when I went to him at the department.
Okay, let's wrap up on the NPP. The natural political cycle as we know it is 8 years, at least in the fourth democratic dispensation. But now there's a political party that says they are in to break the 8. Over 3 or 4 names, in fact close to 7. I can count Kennedy Ejapon, the likes of the former energy minister Boache Jakun. There's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who's saying it is possible. Alan says it is his time. And we have the good old, for instance, the former commissioner from ECOWAS, Dr. Konedu Apraku, also running the race. He's been doing that since. Why do you feel there's so much interest in the NPP's top slot as compared to that of the National Democratic Congress?
I think the NDC is also competitive.
Yeah,
right?
But just 3 of them, 7 people
so
going in for that of the governing party.
Because it's incumbent party, people think that it may be the chances of winning on that ticket it may be easier because they're in government, they have incumbency advantage, and there are a whole lot of other things that favor them. But it is also possible that the kind of leader that you elect can also necessitate your victory or your defeat. So, but also if you look at other indicators, we always say in political science nomenclature that every election is a census on the performance of the incumbent. So, and if you look at currently our economic indicators and other indicators, it's not that good. If you look at global rankings on corruption perception, on the Moody's, all the economic variables, press freedom and all those things, it's not improving. So the current census is not that good. But the party and the people who are competing are still very confident that they are going to break the 8. So it's a matter of confidence. Maybe there are a lot of things they know that we don't know, and maybe perhaps the kind of leader that they elect may be able to turn things around, breathe fresh air into the campaign processes, and knowing that the era of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is coming to an end. The other candidate can campaign on a point of departure from the incumbent government, that I am exceptional in this, and when I'm given the nod, I can do things differently like the current government that I am part is doing. So I think the whole concept of the interest is the fact that it's an incumbent government, and incumbency advantage, we all know in African politics, is very, very essential, and it can bring you a lot of benefit. So it has always been so, and even in 2017, 2018, we had about 17 people putting themselves up to lead the party.
So it's the usual thing for the NPP.
Yeah, so now that's the more reason why they have put in a clause in the constitution that now limits the number to 5 if there are more than that. So there will be a super delegates that will put on the number to 5, and then the 5 will now go for the main election. So it's naturally given that when you are in a position to dispense benefit and to make a lot of determinations that border on the lives and destiny of people, everybody will want to lead in a party like that.
But then, since 2 individuals, very prominent, have made their decisions known, of course, and for the sake of time, I would want us to zoom in and talk about these 2 individuals. We have the former Trade Minister, who was one of the very first to come out to say, I'm leaving government, I'm walking out, and I'm doing that because I want to succeed President Akufo-Addo. Right after he does that and says it is his time, then the vice president says, I'm looking at that as well. Well, it's not fully confirmed if indeed he'll run, but he's spoken to at least members of parliament who have confirmed to us that he may be in the race. Should we go for convention, as many would say, or this should also be a democratic process, in your view?
I still support democratic process, whether it's NDC or MPP. And I think if you look at the number of people who have put themselves up, you can say technically it's a two-horse race between the vice president and then the former finance minister, Honorable Alan.
Yeah, former trade.
Sorry, former trade. Sorry, Honorable Alan Kojo Chairman. So it's a two-horse race between these two, and they've all had history in the past, especially with Alan. Alan has been in the party. He has contested the current president on, I think, on 3 different occasions, if not more, and has paid his one of the traditionists of the traditional MPP political party, and MPP espouses traditionalism and sacrifices you've made to the party, your contribution, and bidding your time for leadership positions. So if you're going to go on that tangent of espousing the traditionalistic perspective of the MPP as a political party, looking at how far you have stayed in the party, how competitive you've been, people will have said naturally it should be Alan who should lead, because he has been there, he has made concessions on a number of times, he has contested on a number of times. But there's also this other opinion that says that traditions are not cast in stones, and sometimes your performance and your diligence and your intelligence can also propel you to a position of leadership. And those who support the vice presidential candidates bid, often the vice president's bid often use that element of what he has done, even though previously he wasn't an MPP person, but he's come to the party, he's injected energy, he's been there, he's done this, the petition, and all those things that he has done. But now I think what the MPP needs to do is to create a free, fair, enabling environment for the competition to occur. Electoral competition.
Do you see that playing out
for now? It still look a bit skewed. Right. To be honest with you, it still look a bit skewed towards a particular candidate than other candidates, and that can portends for trouble in the party. Electoral competitiveness and internal democratic processes should allow for a fair, transparent, neutral, free. You see, when you're talking about the NDC, I said the party must stay clear from the competition and allow it to occur naturally. So at the end of the day, the person who wins will have the legitimacy and the confidence to believe that he won freely, fairly, and squarely, and be able to lead. But if there are a lot of trappings, there are a lot of deliberate undermining of other candidates in favor of one candidate and those things, it creates deeper cracks in the party. And if those cracks cannot be mended, it will create a lot of danger. For now, the NPP as an incumbent party is already against the odds in terms of the census principle, that there are a lot of challenges that this government is facing, there are a lot of challenges that Ghanaians are facing. One, in terms of the tenure principle, the traditional tenure of staying for 8 years is against, there are a lot of things that are against them. So I think the best bet now is to elect a candidate who is a unifier, a candidate that can be trusted, a candidate that will have the support of all people within the party, but also Ghanaians at large, and a candidate that can sell at the presidential level. It's not what the party likes. At the end of the day, if all MPP supporters vote for a particular candidate, that candidate cannot win until he gets support from other floating voters and other well-meaning voters. And those voters, they are not party people. They look at your track record, they look at what you have said in the past and what you are saying and whether they contradict or they tally. So it's all about credibility. It's all about being able to unite people. It's all about knowing what is right at what particular time and doing it. So I will rather the party stay clear of the processes and doesn't seem to be imposing a particular candidate or gravitating towards a particular candidate and leaving all the other candidates that are competing.
When you say it's skewed looking at it from the perspective of the national leadership of the party, or this is being engineered by the government appointees?
So people believe it's actually a governmental decision, whipping in line. One can file from the national up to the grassroots level. Ministerial appointed government officials, and the pronouncements they make in support of one candidate, and that is nothing. When they make similar pronouncement against another candidate, they are summoned for disciplinary action. And so you tend to see that when people who support Alan speaks or do something in support of Alan, the party is very quick to take action and say you are in breach of party conventions, right? But it's different when they do for any other candidate. So you tend to see that maybe the people from the Alan, they've had reasons to complain, they've had reasons to think that the processes are not fair. Whether that is real or perceived, it has an implication on party unity moving forward. So I would rather the NPP as a party to deepen internal democracy and move this country forward should, as much as possible, create the enabling environment and allow the delegates to decide. At the end of the day, the person that, or the individual that the delegates choose, the party now rally behind that individual and sell that person with all the might that they have. And I think they'll have the surest bet of being more competitive and doing better in 2024 than when they begin to have deeper cracks. And you've seen that in the history of this country, it is the UP tradition which have suffered the consequence of internal cracks. I think 79.
Having the three-way splits. So, do you feel that may happen this time around if the internal elections is not handled properly?
I can't predict what may happen, but the idea is that when people feel the processes weren't fair, they've been marginalized, they've not been treated well, there is the initial inclination, as humanly as we are, to also want to revenge or take a decision that also affect the system or the establishment. So that's usually the first point of thinking. But I'm not sure whether what's going to happen. Maybe when it gets to the election, the processes will be free to be fair. If you lose, you know you lost decently, and then you congratulate the winner, and then you move forward. But if the structures are seen not to be that even in the NDC, you know, the Kwabena Dufour camp is also complaining. You understand? There's also think the processes are not free, fair, and once people begin to speak about these things, it means a lot of things has happened. That's why they are coming out. And if party hierarchy disregard those complaints, then it bubbles up to what? Something that will happen that we all regret. And that may be those divisions. So I think as it stands now, I will hazard to say that it's a two-horse race between Alan and then Bawumia. And each of these candidates can do well, but what I am thinking is that the party should let the internal democratic processes take its course, free of interference, and the one that the delegates decide should lead the party should be the one they should all rally around to move the party forward.
Your final take. Breaking the 8 or breaking the attempt to break the 8, which one will work or play out in the 2024 election?
So I think for now I will applaud all the two political parties for taking internal democratic processes seriously. It's one of the cardinal principles of building and consolidating national democracy. Breaking the 8 or unable to break the 8 is a decision that is solely vested with Ghanaian voters. And Ghanaian voters over the years have proven to be very, very rational, whether it is rational based on self-benefit or rational based on collective national interest. But at least there is something that they always vote for. And what they vote for may differ from one particular person to the other. Some people, it's what you give them, money, flash screen. Others, it's about their party. I will never betray my party. Even if I'm not happy with my party, I'll stay at home rather than vote for the other party. Others, they look at the caliber, the quality of the candidate you put forward. So, and I think over the years from 2012, I think even from 2018, 2012, 2016, 2020, we've tended to see more Ghanaians gravitating towards the rational model and making decisions that is informed by rational tendencies than just because my party is in government or my party is in opposition. So I think if you look at all the odds, I will tend to side with the EIU report that the NDC, if they play their acts well, will likely be able to do better in 2024. The only caveat is that from now up to 2024 is a lot of time, and anything can happen in elections.
So the EIU report is scientific enough to give us a sense of what may happen?
Yes, so polls are usually an indication. At the present moment. So it's based on, when we do opinion poll, we usually ask the question, most of the one we used to do the announce if elections were held today or now. So it means at the time that they had conducted the polls, the NDC is favored to win if election were held on that day. But from now out to maybe December 2024, it's a whole lot of time. And a lot of things can still happen to change the Ghanaian voters' decision-making behavior. And I still think that polls by the EIU is just a wake-up call to both the NDC and the NPP. And no one should take it as is favoring him and it's a done deal thing. A lot of work has to be done for both the NDC and the NPP so that the Ghanaian will make a very informed, rational, reasonable choice.
But they are really hard on the economic part, the economic reasons for which they believe it will be difficult for the NPP to retain power. You are confident that some changes may happen and that the economy could be turned around within this space of time?
Yeah, what people usually will do is that maybe government will borrow more money and they try to get a lot of money to show up the economy up to the election period. So get into election period, doesn't matter where they get the money. They will make sure they get the money, stable the currency and then the fundamentals and campaign on it. Then when we vote, then we'll move back to serious challenges and troubles. And they have done that. If you look at the electoral cycle business model, that's what usually happens. You know, you run up to the election, government borrows money, they look for money elsewhere, take money from other sectors, and then show up the economy and make sure that the economy looks decent or stable. Then after the elections, when things begin to unfold, you see what. So you look at the run up to 2020, what we did, and look at the mess that we are in now. So even if it is artificial for the elections, governments will do that. But it now depends on the Ghanaian to think whether what is done is actually done for their interest or it's just done to win elections. And that will still inform the way they vote.
Prof, thank you for talking.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Of course, in the lead up.
And that's Professor Seydou Alidu with his views on the upcoming race of the New Patriotic Party. You're watching the Pulse on the Joy News channel. We'll be back shortly. When we return, we'll talk about some more happenings here in Accra. Please stay.